Who told Moses that he was a Hebrew? That he was an Israelite? You say, well, it's obvious. His mummy, his birth mother, Yocheved, while she was feeding him, she said to him, "You're a nice little Jewish boy." But I'm not convinced on that one. But imagine if Lady Sybil went from Downton Abbey to the East End of London and found herself a child of the slums, 2 years old, brought him back to Downton Abbey, gave him the education of an aristocrat, Eton, Oxford, Sandhurst, so that he grew up thinking and believing he's an aristocrat. Any knowledge of his Israelite origins would have been completely overlaid by his new personality. Moses was brought up as an Egyptian prince, highest education, military training, political experience. If he had known at the age of 2 he was an Israelite, by the time he reached adult life, that had been overlaid by his personality as an Egyptian prince. So who told Moses he was a Hebrew? I think there's one obvious candidate. The Egyptian princess who found him. After all, what's her first words? Hinei Yaldei ha'ivrim zeh. This is one of the Hebrew children. She recognized them. Which of course is amazing. Because if she knew he was a Hebrew, why didn't she drown him? She should have said to her handmaidens, "Don't bring him out, shove him under." And yet she defies her father's decree, brings him home to the palace, if you please, under her father's nose. Why did she do that? Well, she was, no doubt, a pious Egyptian, and therefore she believed that this child must have a special destiny. The Nile has brought him to me, the one person who has the power and authority to fulfill that destiny. Therefore I will do as the Nile wishes. She took him home. But how did she protect him from Pharaoh and his court? Because everybody knows he's Israelite. I think the answer is in the name she gave him. Vatikra Shemo Moshe. She called his name Moshe, Kimen Amai Meshitihu, because I drew him up out of the waters. But the word Moshe is a very difficult one, it's rare. Not only that, I don't think that the princess of Egypt spoke the language of the slaves. She didn't speak Hebrew. She spoke Egyptian. And in Egyptian, the word Mashul means a son, S-O-N. So by Tikrat Shemo Moshe, she called his name Mashul, son, Kimen Amai Meshitihu, because I have obtained a son from the Nile. He is a gift of the Nile God. And once she said that, Moses becomes sacrosanct. No one, not even Pharaoh, will lay a finger upon him, because no one wanted to offend the Nile, which was the lifeblood of Egypt. And so the daughter of Pharaoh saves and trains the greatest leader of the Jewish people. And we don't even know her name. But the rabbis say we record her for posterity, because for all time this great man is not known by the name his mother must have given him, Tuvia, but his name is known as Moshe, the name of the Egyptian princess. So whenever we mention his name, we remember her. And that way we show our gratitude, and we have given her immortality. However, the Egyptian princess does have a message for our age, for our generation, because we are living at a time when the cacophony of the hymns of hatred are being heard once again on both sides of the Atlantic. the age-old prejudice and hostility which destroyed millions of souls in the last century are re-emerging, which indicates that man has not learned the lesson of history and therefore he is destined to repeat his mistakes. So I sympathise with the psalmist when he says, Ki kol adam kozev, all men are liars, humanity is incorrigible. But it's at that point I remember an Egyptian princess who showed kindness and love. And it makes me realise that God has invested all humanity with a capacity for infinite good as well as infinite evil. And we see this from our history. In our darkest moments, there were pagans, there were Jews prepared to save Jews. Even in the darkest moments of Nazi Germany, there were Germans who saved Jewish lives. Although the Roman Catholic Church is a repository of anti-Semitism, there were Catholic priests and nuns who rescued Jews. I have to mention one of them, Cardinal Karol Wojtyla. You would know him better as Pope John Paul II. He saved Jews. And you see it among your neighbours. How many of your neighbours are kind, decent, honest, will do you a favour? God has invested all mankind with a capacity for infinite good. And since God hasn't given up hope in man, neither should we.